Welcome to Enlight, where we enlighten you on hot topics that you need to know. Uyghurs are a Turkic minority ethnic group who mostly live in the Xinjiang region of China. By the 11th century, Islam became the dominant religion of the Uyghurs, and it has since played an essential role in their culture and identity. Although the conflict between the Uyghurs and the Chinese state has intensified in the past few years, it is nothing new. At the end of the 16th century, Uyghurs were ruled by Hojas, influential political figures who were also spiritual leaders in the society. By the mid-18th century, every Hoja ruler was overthrown by the forces of the Qing dynasty. This began the new period of Chinese rule over the region. There was some resistance initially, but the area was formally incorporated into the Chinese Empire by the name of Xinjiang, the new frontier. In 1955, the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region was created as a concession to the region's non-Chinese population. However, large numbers of Han began moving into Xinjiang after establishing the autonomous region. The influx became especially pronounced after 1990 and by the late 20th century. The Han constituted 2/5 of the Xinjiang's total population. Over time, economic disparities and ethnic tensions grew between the Uyghur and the Han populations, resulting in protests and other disturbances. In the last 30 years, the tensions between both sides increased substantially. In 2014, the Chinese government announced its policy of People's War on Terror, which has been used to open internment camps to oppress and indoctrinate Uyghurs and other Muslim minorities. By now, everyone must have seen the disturbing footage and the pictures of Uyghurs getting tortured. Ridiculous as this might sound, on July 30th, 2019, China's chairman of the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, Shokrat Zakir, has denied any concentration camp. Well, that was clearly BS. In November 2019, the New York Times got a hold of 400 leaked documents from inside the Chinese government. These documents contained internal dialogues and diabolic plans against the Uyghur population. These plans are disturbingly well planned out for any possible situation, such as complaints from citizens to students returning back to a completely abandoned home with no one in sight. By the way, the response to that is that they're in a training school but can't leave. Definitely not a threat at all. When asked if they had committed a crime to deserve to be put in a training school, Chinese officials responded back, "Freedom is only possible when this virus in their thinking is eradicated and they're in good health." The virus mentioned being the religion of Islam. China is using their advanced facial recognition technology to survey and keep the Uyghurs under control via security cameras, which are everywhere. The system in charge of this is the Integrated Joint Operations Platform, or IJOP. Every smartphone has the app loaded. The Human Rights Watch reverse engineered it and have answered the main questions. How does this app work? We have summarized their response. This app is in all devices and it has 3 functions. It collects data, reports on suspicious activities or circumstances, and prompts investigate missions. When the app finds something suspicious, such as keywords or actions like using WhatsApp or a VPN, it reports to nearby officials who view the smartphone and record it on their iJob app. The app knows who is suspicious by going through the 36 person types that were chosen already. Mainly religious, like the term means Hajj, a Muslim pilgrimage to Mecca, or which means unofficial Hajj, where someone else goes for that person. This app even tracks who leaves from which door in the house by having about 1 million government officials live with the Turkic Muslims through the Becoming Family program. When those officials see any suspicious activity, they will take those family members to the training camps, even though they haven't broken any official laws. These training camps are anything but teaching. Survivors have confessed that they witnessed abuse, torture, rape, murder, electrocution, waterboarding, repeated beatings, stress positions, injections of unknown substances, sterilized and put into forced labor. They even heard officials shout, "Break their lineage, break their roots, break their connections, and break their origins." China wants to eradicate the Uyghur completely. This is obviously a cultural genocide. For those of you wondering, China had signed the Genocide Convention, which is supposed to prevent this from happening. The Uyghurs who did forced labor work for many companies that we know today. Here's a list from the Australian Strategic Policy Institute. Aren't some of these stores right down the street from your house? All of the clothing brands that you see here benefit immensely from the forced labor of Uyghurs because 84% of produced cotton in China comes from Xinjiang. That percentage is roughly equal to 1 in 5 cotton clothes. Okay, enough of the bad news. Here's some good news. According to Glossy.com, Adidas and Lacoste have announced that they will terminate any business connected to Xinjiang district and the forced labor of their citizens. The violation of Uyghurs in China isn't going to be solved on its own. Rather than feeling bad and complaining, we all have to take proper action to combat this unprecedented genocide of the Uyghur people. And yes, you can help them. There are many ways you can do this. Perhaps one of the simplest methods is to sign petitions that will help oppose the violation of Uyghurs. It's easy. You can find the links in the description for many petitions which will only take you 1 minute to sign and help the issue. If you really want to go out of your way to help the Uyghurs in need, a very important action you can take is to contact your congressman. If you want to know how to contact your representatives to help raise awareness and learn more, you can visit the International Uyghur Human Rights and Democracy Foundation, which can also be found in the description below. The next thing is probably going to be very hard to do, but if you really need to help the Uyghurs in China right now, it's good to keep in mind which companies in the US have partnerships in Xinjiang so you can avoid them. Buying from or making business with these companies support the oppression and the violation of Uyghurs, as they are forced to work at these Chinese factories. In the description, you can also find the link with a list of 500 known companies with current partnerships in Xinjiang. On top of all of this, you can do your own research to learn about this modern-day genocide taking place in our world and work to spread awareness. Here is a quick summary of what I've mentioned in this video. There has been ongoing tension between the Uyghurs and the Chinese. In the modern day, this has led to the persecution of the Uyghurs in China and their violation of their human rights. There are several things you can do to help solve this problem, like contacting your congressman, signing petitions, and avoiding business with partnerships in Xinjiang. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to stay enlightened.